So today our topic is test plan contents. So a test plan is a document which describes the test scope, test strategy, objectives, schedule, deliverables, resources are required to perform testing for a software product. A test plan should be done before itself. Before starting a testing, we will do a plan. So in test plan, we will specify everything. So what we are going to test, what we are not going to test, and what is in scope, what is in not our scope, and then what are the different strategies that we are going to use, and what are the testing types that we using while testing, and when we have conducted the testing, I mean schedules. So how will conduct and who will conduct the testing, like human resources, and where exactly we conduct the testing, and on which environment we conduct the testing. So all these things specified in the document. So this is called test plan document. So here I have listed out some points. First one is overview. So overview, we have specified like what is the project and why we are preparing the test plan document, and we write just a small description under overview. And next one is scope. So scope, under scope inclusions, test environments, exclusions will be specified, like what to test and what not to test, and how we will know that again. Dependence on the requirement document. Requirement document means what are the requirements is we have to test them, and whatever is not part of our requirement and we don't test them. Okay, scope means scope is nothing but what to test and what not to test. These things specify in that. So third one, test strategy. So it is a kind of what kind of testing that we are going to conduct. So first, smoke testing, next is sanity testing, regression testing, personal testing, and so many testings are there, right? These are the different strategies that we are going to use, like automation or manual, what kind of strategy that we are going to use. So that is a part of test strategy. So fourth one, defect reporting and procedure, and how we are going to reporting the bugs and what exact process that we are follow, like to report the bug from tester to developer. And later we will discuss defect lifecycle. You will understand very clearly. So next fifth one, roles and responsibilities. So in testing team, there are number of peoples will be there, right? Then roles and responsibilities clearly defined in the test plan document, like test engineer, test lead, project manager, everybody in the team. So clearly we have to specify the roles and responsibilities. So who is the author of the document? Who will review it? All these things part of it. Sixth one, test schedules. So it means when we have conduct, what type of testing we conduct. So we have to specify days also, along with the what kind of activity we are going to do. That we have to specify in the test plan document. Test deliverables means each and every phase of a testing, we are going to deliver certain documents, like test plan document is one deliverable. Test cases are deliverables, and defect report is a deliverable. Test execution. So after completion of each and every phase or step, we are going to deliver a small document. So what kind of documents that we are going to deliver, that should be specified in the test plan document itself, and how much pricing it will take. Again, it will take it by management. And eighth one, pricing. So just now we discussed, right? So whatever we are specified in the test plan document, that will be pricing, and it will take care by management. Entry and exit criteria. So when we have start our testing, when we have exit our testing, so entry criteria or exit criteria should be mentioned in the test plan document. So next is suspension and reception criteria. So means sometimes immediately we stop testing, and suppose something is not working, something is broken in your application, we will stop testing, and then immediately after recovery, after getting new build, and after immediately fix the build. So we will resume our testing. So when exact cases we stop the testing, and when exact cases resume the testing. So that is also specified in the test plan document. So 11th one, tools. So what kind of tools we are going to use for testing purpose? So including manual tools also, like even Excel document, Word document also. So but bug tracking tools like automation testing tools or testing management tools. So what we are going to use the tools for testing that we can specify in the document. So risk and mitigations. So means suppose while project is going on, there will be some risk, right? So risk comes from any side. And what is the mitigation? It means what is the another plan? Suppose a team member in the project taken a leave a long time, and that is a risk for the project, right? And one resource is gone. So we need to replace the person with some other guy. That is the risk and mitigation. So similarly, hardware. Suppose immediately in the middle of the project, some hardware got trash, and that is the risk. What is the mitigation plan? We need to take the backup machine. So risk and mitigations also clearly specified in the test plan document and approvals. So we need approval for all this, right? So test plan approval. Who will approve the document? Who will approve the test cases? And all these things clearly specified in the test plan document. So in interview, if they ask you what is the test plan and what it contains, then you have to tell all these things, mainly the scope of the testing, like what to test and what not to test. So that is the important thing we specify in the test plan document. Is it clear, guys?
Clear.
Yes.
Yeah. So use case. So use case and test scenario, test case is also very important. So use case means it describes the requirement which will help us to understand the requirement more clearly. For example, if you take a functional requirement document, so customer, just assume that I have a forest document. Customer describes the requirement in one paragraph or two paragraph. That is one kind of requirement. And in the same document, customer given some kind of picture or diagram and which clearly saying the flow, what user will do, what action will do, and what is the outcome we will get. The same thing written in the text format. So these two are the representation. What exactly customer requirement is representing with the two different ways. Either write in the paragraph or he draw as some picture and flow. By that diagram, we can understand. Use case seems like a picture, a flow, okay, with diagram, which can understand more clearly. So that is a part of the requirement. So use cases are also specified in the FRS document along with the test. So use case describes the requirement and mainly focus on three things. In the picture itself, they will specify three things like actor, action, or we can say outcome or goal. So actor is nothing but a user. A user performs certain action that he will get some outcome. So let us take a login application, for example. So as a user, I perform the login. After successful login, I will get the home page. So there are three things are there actually. So user is nothing but a actor. Login operation is nothing but action. After successful login, I will get the home page. That is our goal or outcome. So use case is that by seeing the picture, we can easily understand the functionality of the application. So use case contains three parts: actor, action, outcome. As an actor or user, what you have to do? Action is nothing but a process. And then what is the outcome you will get after completion of the action? That is a part of the requirement. And test a scenario. So it is nothing but possible areas to be tested. So what exactly we have to test? I have 10 requirements. In all 10 requirements, each and every phases, there is a different scenarios will be there. So scenario means exactly what we have to test. In your application, where exactly you conduct the testing. That is test scenario. Based on the use cases, we will derive the test scenarios. To derive the test scenario, use case is the input. So where exactly we will get this FRS document? And who will write the use cases? Project manager or product manager. So based on the use cases, the testers will create test scenarios and test cases. So initial level, we will identify all test scenarios, like what to test. On that, we have to be very clear. Once you identify the scenario, we will write multiple test cases based on the scenario. And use case describes the requirement which is belongs to the requirement created by project manager or product manager. So who is responsible for FRS document, and they will create the use cases and part of the FRS document. So test scenario is the area where exactly we conduct the testing and basically describes what to test. And test case describes the how to test. Test case is a step-by-step actions to be performed to validate functionality of application under test. So whatever application we have and whatever functionality that we have to test. To test the functionality, we will go to step by step. We will perform step by step actions in the application that is our test case. So test case contains multiple steps to perform the validate the application, like functionality of the application. So which is mainly focusing on how to test the functionality. That is the basic difference between test scenario and test cases. So test scenario is nothing but it describes what to test, and a test case is nothing but how to test. And use case describes the requirement more clearly. Okay. And this is the sample diagram. So this is the sample use case diagram. So use case contains three parts. Just remember actor, action, outcome. So library user, he is a actor and he can perform certain operations like register book loan, register book return, query book availability. Okay. And these are the three items the user can perform, right? By seeing the picture, we can understand the flow. As a user, what are the actions I can do? As a librarian, what are the actions I can do? So this is simple use case which describes the requirement. Now, use case versus test case. So as you told, before use case describes the functional requirement, which is a part of the requirement document and which is prepared by product manager or business analyst. And we can call it as BA team. So BA means business analyst. So test case describes the test steps and which is prepared by test engineer. So test scenario versus a test case means, so to write a test case first we need a test scenario, and from where we will get the test scenario from the use case, right? And based on the use case we will derive multiple test scenario. For each scenario we will have a multiple test cases. So just test scenario is what to be tested and the test case is how to be tested. So if you take an example test scenario, so checking the functionality of login button. This is a scenario. So checking login button means, so what are the test cases? Test case 1, click the button without entering username and password. This is first test case. So test case 2, click the button only entering username. And third one, click the button while entering the wrong username and wrong password. So these are all test cases for one test scenario. And what is the test suite? So it is basically group of test cases. So we will group the similar type of test cases. For example, all sanity test cases, I will choose that and group it in one single unit, which is called as sanity test suite. And all the regression test cases, I will group them. That is called regression test suite. And all functional test cases, I will group them. Okay. And that is called functional test suite. And all GUI test cases, and I will group them, that is called GUI test suites. So test suite means a group of test cases which belongs to same category. So here say test plan. Okay. So for just this is a test plan, and here, for example, smoke testing, sanity testing, I just take an example. So sanity test cases all So this is the first test suite, and this is a second test suite. And just assume first test suite is a smoke testing test cases, and this is anti testing test cases and regression testing test cases. So what they are doing? So sanity, I mean smoke testing test cases. They will choose that and group it in one single unit, which is called as smoke testing test suite. So sanity test cases. So they will group them in one single unit and which is called as sanity test suite. And regression test cases, we will group them, that is called regression test suite. So test suite is a group of test cases which belongs to same category. And what is a test case? Just we know, just earlier we discussed, right? A test case is a set of actions executed to validate a particular feature or functionality of your software application. Suppose I have a login screen and I want to test it. And what is the test case for login screen? So login test that we are going to do. First, you do open URL, enter the username and password, click on the login. This is the step-by-step process to test the login screen, and which is also contains the expected value. When you perform these actions, what your expectations? So that is a part of test case. That is what I'm saying. A test case is a set of actions executed to validate a particular feature or functionality of your software application. So test case content. So test case contains, it is also a document which is also contains a different options like a test plan. So initially test cases we will prepare either in Word or Excel document, and later it will be uploaded in test management tool. So because at the release stages, what will happen is as soon as we return the test cases, we don't directly upload the documents in tools. We have to conduct multiple reviews on the documents with the team, and they will also given some feedback and suggestion in our test cases. So reviews will happen multiple cycles. After we complete all the reviews and once we get the signed off from the team, then finally upload the test cases in the tool like Jira. Jira is a test management tool. So every test case will identify with some ID. It is having an ID and test case title. So test case title means we have to specify just one line or two lines. No need to write a paragraph. While reading the title, we have to know what exactly test case referring to and the description. So description we should specify in 3 to 4 lines. And precondition means before executing the test case, what are the conditions should be satisfied. That is precondition. So for example, I want to perform login test. What is the precondition? I should open the application. That is the first thing. The URL should work fine. And I should get the page. Then I continue with the login. That is precondition. So for every test case, there will be a precondition and priority. So priority means which test case should execute first and requirement ID. So for which requirement you are writing the test case and steps or actions. So what are the steps we have to perform and those we have to specify. Expected result. What is expected result after performing the action? Actual result. So update later with actual results and test data. So sometimes test cases require data, and we should also prepare the test data before writing the test cases. And this all about the test case contents. I'm going to the next document. So this is the test case template. So you got it right. Whatever I have said.
Yes.
It's clear, Rajesh.
Yes, clear.
Yeah. So test case template. I'll show the picture. See, whatever you are seeing here, it will not be same in every company. So it will change the template accordingly the requirement. But the major important thing is you should not miss this one. So test step should be there. Okay. So actual and expected result should be there, and precondition, and what is the scenario and test case ID and priorities should be mentioned in the test case documents. But it will not be same in everywhere. Some changes is there, and but these things should be a part of this test case. So if I look at here, so each row representing the test case. I mean here, so test case ID 1, 2, 3, 4, we have to provide unique test case ID for every test case. We should not provide some ID for every test case, and it will be seems like this. And in Excel file is more comfortable, and use Excel file and Excel template as a test case template. Whenever you want to write test cases, we use certain test case template. And initially, we write test cases in the template, and once you review it completed, then signed off. Then upload it into the test management tool. Okay. And what is the RTM? See, RTM means it is very important, and you have written 100 test cases. How you exactly know whether it is covered all scenarios or not? And how you will know that? As a tester, while writing the test cases parallelly, we write one more document called RTM, Requirement Traceability Matrix, which contains requirement IDs, corresponding test case IDs. Okay, like this. So for which requirement, what are the test cases we write? Requirement ID which will map with test case ID. For example, I mean, one requirement can have multiple test cases, right? Requirement ID corresponding test case IDs, we will write a specific sheet or document that is called RTM. So just see the definition. RTM describes the mapping of requirements with the test cases. And the main purpose of RTM is to see that all the test cases are covered so that no functionality should be missed while doing software testing. So what it contains? So RTM parameters. So who will prepare that? Testers. So art requirement ID, requirement description, test case IDs. So these will prepare by testers, and he will review test cases which is covered or not. And this is a diagram. Here, requirement number and requirement description, test case ID, status. So one requirement can have multiple test cases. Okay, this is C. This is the one requirement, log into the application, but there are multiple test case IDs. We can also update the status in sometimes, but not mandatory all the time. But requirement ID, requirement description should be there. Based on this, we will know that are we covered all test cases or not. And test environment. It means once your design is completed, so we have test plan. We have written test cases and everything is ready. Before getting the build from developer, uh, we only to set up the environment. What is environment? Means hardware and software environment. If we want to execute the test cases, we have certain hardware is required. Similarly, software environment is also required that we have to set up during test environment. So test environment is a platform, so specially built for test execution, test case execution on the software product. So test environment should be platform which is exactly replica of the customer platform, where exactly customer use the platform in their environment, right? So once you install the software, he will have certain configurations, right? And he will use certain number of machines. He will use certain number of software. The same kind of environment we have to set up in testing environment, I mean QA, in our company. I mean, because our testing is conducted some kind of environment and the software is using some kind of environment. So there will be a conflict. So whatever the customer is working in, whatever and what kind of environment he's working, the same kind of environment we have to create in our testing. So environment means hardware environment and software environment. And what kind of machines they using, how much RAM should be there, how many hard disks should be there, what kind of processor they are using in the computer, how much speed they are using. So these are all hardware related requirements. And what is software related requirements? So what kind of software they are using, what kind of versions they are using, and what kind of Word or Excel documents they are using. That comes under software. And moreover, what kind of operating they are using, like Mac, Windows, etc. And what kind of databases they are using, like SQL, SQL Server, etc. And based on that, we will collect all the environment. Again, that is a part of the requirement, and we have to understand the customer requirement and exactly replicate the environment in testing. Then only we can conduct the testing, and same test cases will be passed in the same environment also. We have to give the priority to the customer. So here there is a test bed. So test bed, this is technical term. It is nothing but software or hardware environment we create to perform the testing. So test bed is nothing but test environment and test execution. So after test environment is done, we will receive the build from the developer. We install the application in the QA environment. QA means testing environment. So whatever environment we set up, then we continue the testing. So during this particular phase, testing team will carry out the testing based on the test plan and test case prepared, whatever we have prepared. So what is entry criteria? So test cases should be there, test data and test plan. So before starting the testing, you should have to test cases ready and approved. Until unless your test cases approved, you should not start testing. Test data is required sometimes for testing. Test plan also should be with you. We need to know the timelines and everything. You have to keep these things in your hand. That is entry criteria. Then execution will start. So what you will do in test execution, test cases are executed based on the test planning. Test planning status. So test planning status where you will get test cases, right? So test cases are executed based on the test planning status of the test cases, are marked like pass, fail, block, or running, or any other status. So while executing the test cases, maybe pass, maybe fail, or it may be block because of some reasons. We will update the status and documentation of test results and log defects for failed cases is done. So whenever you find the mismatch between expected result and actual result, we will file this defect and report to the developer. And we will also prepare a defect document or defect report, or you can say log defect document. All the block and fail test cases are assigned as a bug IDs. Okay, for every bug ID should have some bug ID, right? And retesting. Once the developer fix the bug, if they have given another build, we have to conduct the retesting. So defects are tracked till closure. Whatever the defects we reported to the developer, we have to track those defects till we close the testing. So there will be a number of defects. Some defects will be reported, some defects will be pending, and some defects will be postponed to the next release. So defect status will be there and different status will be there. So we have to track all the defects and finally deliverables. So deliverables provides defect and test case execution report with the completed results. So provide the defect report and test case execution with completed results mean after completion of test execution, what kind of document we have? We have a defect report which contains all the list of defect and test execution status. So these documents we need to have after completion of test execution. So first, test planning, test designing, test environment setup, test execution. So we will discuss in detail about bugs or defects, which is the huge concept. Okay, and guidelines for test execution. When you are trying to executing the test cases, we have to follow certain guidelines. What is the first point? The build being deployed to the QA environment is the most important part of the test execution cycle. So when you are trying to executing the test cases, we have to follow certain guidelines. So this is the first point. So always remember development environment and QA environment is different. Development environment is using to develop the software. They are having different machines, different kind of configurations. So testing team having different kind of environment. It is not sure like whatever the software installation is successfully worked on developed environment. We don't have surety like the same kind of application will be successfully installed in QA environment. So there is no guarantee we have to do testing on that because environment is different. So developer says successfully installed in my environment and tester says no, there is some configuration errors are coming in my environment. So then you have to check the environment that is exact or not. So ultimate goal of tester is we always make sure our software will work fine. Again, customer expected platform or environment, not on the developer, not on the QA. So 100% QA environment should be similar to the customer environment. So test cases or applications should work on testing environment, not on the developer environment. So test execution happens in multiple cycles and test execution should be done in the QA environment. We cannot execute all cycles in one shot. We will get multiple cycles. Why? Because we will build um, multiple builds from developers. But during the process, we will report multiple bugs and fix it. And again, we get another build. Again, we do retest. So we do regression testing and continue with the rest of the test cases. Again, we report the defect on another build and fix it. So testing happens in multiple cycles. So what is the last point? Test execution phase consists executing the test cases plus tested scripts if automation. So as soon as your test cases are passed manually, we will automate those test cases so that in the upcoming builds, we no need to execute the same test cases again and again manually. Because if automated those test cases, we can run the automation scripts in the upcoming cycles. Some manual effort will be reduced, so that is the main uses of automation, automating the test cases, and it will be reduce a lot of time and reduce a lot of efforts in each and every cycle of testing. So these are the guidelines we have to follow during test execution, and then finally defect or bug, and it is very very important. So defect or bug both are same. Some people call defects, some people call bugs, some less people call as an issue. So it is not more technical, but error is different, mistake is different. Don't say error or mistake. Error is a programming related error and which comes from developer side, and mistake is a human mistake. As a tester, if I write incorrect test case that leads to missing of the defect, that is the mistake. As a human, I committed that. And what is the defect and bug? Suppose when I executing the test case in my application, I'm expecting something or some outcome, but actually it is working in different way. That is mismatch in expected and actual. If we found between expected and actual, we consider as a bug or defect. We have to report to the developer. Developer will understand the bug. If it really defect, they fix it and provide the another build. So any mismatch in functionality found in a application we call as defect or bug or issue. So we should not call error or mistake. During the test execution, test engineer reporting a mismatch defects to the developer through templates or using tools. So most of the time we use tools, but initially we prepare the document like Excel document. We will report the defects and we will write all the information, but we don't send the exact same format to the developer. We will have a bug tracking tools. In that, we will fill all the details like defect ID, defect description, severity, priority, and what are the steps to reproduce uh, the defect and who is reporting the defect, and the screenshots you can attach for the defect and the log files you can attach. And once you provide all the information, then once you submit it, it will automatically go to corresponding developer. So developer develop that particular feature and work on it. So that is the actual process we follow. In the upcoming session, I will tell you how to report the defects. And there are number of reporting tools are available. And some of open source tools are there like free tools, some paid tools available. So tools names are ClearQuest, Davefrag, Jira, Quality Center, Bugzilla. So basically, Jira and Quality Center, these are the test management tool. So there are two differences you need to understand. Test management tool and bug tracking tools are different. Bug tracking tools are used only bug tracking. We cannot do any other activity. So ClearQuest, DayTrack, Bugzilla. So these are purely bug tracking tool and we can use them to report the developers. But Jira and Quality Center, so these are test management tools. It means we can track each and every activity during the testing, like from beginning of the requirement. We can define the requirements, we can write the scenarios and test cases, we can update the execution status, we can report the defects, everything we can do in those tools. So they are called test management tools. As a tester and as a developer, both use Jira tool. So tester, it will define the requirement. It defines a business unit. So BA or product owner will define the requirement in Jira tool. And for those requirement, as a tester, I will write the test cases. I will write the, report the bugs and also update the execution status. And what developer will do? Developer also have some their unit test cases, integration test cases, execution test cases, everything. And they also use Jira tool parallelly, but all the project related activities will be tracked in single place. So that is Jira tool. And defect report contents. So defect report contents, just like a test case document, we also have a defect report. So whenever you report the defect to the developer, what are the contents we have to specify? And that is very important. And what are the details you provide to the developer? You have to specify detailed information to developer so that they can easily understand where exactly the bug is and where and how can fix it. So defect report is a defect ID. Okay. So this is a unique ID for every defect. Then defect description. So it says the detailed information, what exactly the defect is, and write a small description and version. Version means version of the application. Suppose you will get multiple builds from the developer. So each build having version number because you don't know exactly which build is old and which build is latest one. So every build is given a number called build verification number or um, we can call it as build ID, means in which build we found the defect and steps. It means to reproduce the bug or defect and what are the steps to be performed on the application. So those steps clearly we have to specify and date rise. So date rise when exactly we rising the defect and reference. What are the documents we refer to consider? This is the bug. Suppose we have executed one test case. I found a mismatch and I consider it as a bug. On what basis you are saying the bug? You have some reference, right? On what are those reference? Your test case and your requirement document or design. Whatever based on that you consider as a bug. So detected by. So tester name. Detected by means tester name. So status. So every defect having some status like new, open, in progress, close. So different status will be keep on changing. So I will explain the defect life cycle. You will understand clearly in the upcoming sessions. Finally, the ultimate goal is it should start from the status and it should end with the close status. So before the product release to the next level or next for UI testing, all the defects, whatever we reported to the developer should be in the closed state. So that is also one of the criteria whenever we exit from the testing. And that is also about status. So fix it by who is the developer, who is responsible for fixing the bug. That developer name should come and date close. Whenever you close the defect, the date will automatically updated. So severity and priority. So it is also very important. So every defect, whenever you report, we have to assign and tell severity and priority. So whenever we write a test case, you will prioritize, you will give the priority them. So test cases are having only priority. There, the priority says in which order the test cases should be executed. But here, Defect having two things, severity and priority. And this is defect classification. So severity and priority, we have to assign. This is the tester responsibility. So tester has to assign the severity and priority before raising the defect to the developer. So severity can be four types: blocker, critical, major, minor. And priority means we can start with P1, P2, P3. So these names will be changed from one company to another company. So everywhere you can't find the same thing. Sometimes you get and you see H1, H2, H3, S1, S2, S3 on the same thing. So naming conventions will be little bit different, but severity are of four types. So defect severity. Severity describes the seriousness of defects and how much impact on business workflow and how the customer workflow will be impacted because of that defect. That is severity. Severity means seriousness of the bug. If bug is coming from the customer environment and how much the business flow is impacted, that is called as severity. It describes the seriousness of the defect and how much impact on the business workflow. And it is four types: blocker, critical, major, minor. So, blocker known as showstopper. This is again technical term. When you have assigned the blocker, critical, major, minor, we have to understand very clearly. So, whenever you report a bug, whenever you found something that is completely blocked and it's not working at all, or the application is crashed during installation, and because of that, can't proceed for further testing, right? And that means you are completely blocked the testing. If it is blocked, how can you do the rest of the test cases? You cannot, right? In that case, you have to assign blocked. Until unless the developer fix the bug, you can't proceed further level. In that situation, you have to specify the blocker. So blocker definition is these defects includes nothing can proceed further. And example, application crash, login, not work. And what is the meaning of critical? It means you are completely blocked and you are able to proceed, but the main or basic functionalities are working. Customer business workflow is broken. They cannot proceed further. That means we are able to install the application, we are able to proceed the testing, but the major functionality is not working. For example, if you take internet banking application, what are the major functionalities? Checking the balance, transferring the fund. And to perform these activities, banking application we introduce, but after successful login, that major functionality is not working means what that is a critical bug. I mean, so there are major functionalities. So after you log in your banking application, after successful login, that major functionalities is not working. So means what? That is a critical bug. For example, another example is e-commerce application. You Amazon.com. The main functionalities are searching the product, add to the cart, do the payment. If this is a particular flow is not working, that means what? The major functionality is broken in the application. That type of bugs we have to consider as a critical. So critical definition is the main or basic functionality is not working. Customer business workflow is broken. They can proceed further. And example, so fund transfer is not working in net banking. Ordering product in e-commerce application is not working. That is considered as a critical bug. And major. So here functionality works fine. There is no problem with feature, but somehow undesirable behavior. So for example, Gmail. So sending a mail to other guy and you put some CC or BCC. And once you compose the email and you will click on the submit. As soon as click on the submit, the mail is successfully sent, but you have not get any confirmation message like your mail is successfully sent. So you don't know whether it is sent or not. But when you see the sent items, you can't see because you don't get confirmation message. But functionality is working fine, application is working fine, feature also working fine, but somewhere there is undesirable behavior. So for example, Another example is take a booking cab. You book one cab and you selected source and destination and request to the not developer, driver and request to the driver. But you have not get the confirmation message. But scenario is your cab is booked and driver is waiting for you and at your place. But you don't get a confirmation message and you in the confusion stage. And that bug is considered as a major. What is the definition? It caused some undesirable behavior, but the feature or application is still functional. So, example, after sending email, there is no confirmation message. After booking cab, there is no confirmation. And what is minor? The defect will not impact on the business or any breakdown. And it is very minor, like look and feel of the application or small spelling mistakes, alignment. There are comes under minor. If you take a login screen, you have some text boxes. If you username, just I will take a paint. Just assume you have a text box and this is a username text box and this is a password text box. The size of the alignment is different. When I enter the username and password, I successfully log in the page. But in the home page, this box alignment will not impact on the functionality or business flow. But the size of the alignment or element looks not good, right? So that is the that type of bugs considered as a minor. If you see the definition of that, it won't cause any major breakdown of the system. So, example, look and feel issues, spellings, alignments, etc. And who will assign all this severity? Only testers. Even priority also. So, defect to priority. So, whenever you report a defect, you specify the severity along with the priority. So, severity says the seriousness of the defect, how much the business will impact. That is the severity. And priority says the importance of defect, how soon the defect should be fixed. So developer consider the priority. Based on the priority, the developer should fix the bug. And what is the priority describes the importance of defects. And what is the second point? Defect priority states the order in which that defect should be fixed. So a defect can be categorized into three classes. So one is P0, P1, P2. So when we have to give priority, whenever you report to the developer, you will specify the severity along with the priority. So P0 means high. Whenever you want to developer fix that issue immediately, like the defect must be resolved immediately. So because that affects the system severely and you can't proceed further until the bug is fixed. In that case, you will specify P0. P1, P1 medium. So when a provide the priority P1, the customer will wait for new version, like every version of release will be there. And different version software different version software release will be there. So when I say P1 medium, that bug fixed in upcoming versions and P2 is very low. So P2, the developer will fix in later releases. So next version is different, next release is different. Just please attend to my words. Next version is different, next release is different. So in one release, there is a multiple versions. When I say P1 medium is, it should be fixed within the same release. That means in multiple versions, some in one specific version or some version within the release. They have to fix that bug. But when I say P2, they will fix that bug in the upcoming releases, not in the versions. So severity priority, what is the definitions? Severity describes the seriousness of defects and how much impact on business workflow. So priority means priority describes the importance of defects. Okay. An example, you may reported 10 defects. Among those defects, the developer will not fix the defects at once. They will choose the defects based on the priority what you have specified. So whatever the defects you assign, P0 priority, the developer will work on P0 bugs first. After fixing and closing defects, then he will go to P1 and P2. Based on the priority, the developer will work on those defects. And this is very important topic. So tester will provide severity and priority, but sometimes priority can be changed by the developer also and BA or product manager, but severity can't be changed. Now, sometimes interviewer will ask you, there are certain situations the bugs will fall and high severity and high priority, low severity, low priority. There is a combination like this. So the bug fall under high severity, okay, low priority. So low severity, high priority. So there is a different categories like high severity, low priority, low severity, high priority, high severity, high priority, low severity, low priority. So if they ask in interview questions, so you just tell this example. Here I provide you multiple examples and you remember and you can clearly explain it. And just under the situation, so I have a bug like this. So login is taking to the blank page. As soon as enter username and password and clicking on the submit button, it is not giving home page and it is just giving a blank page. I don't know whether the login is successful or not. And what is severity and priority will assign to the bug. First, we have to think severity very clearly. Login is not working means what? You cannot proceed further. That means you are completely blocked. When I say block means what? High severity. Okay. Now think about priority. When you want to fix that bug, immediately fix the bug, right? If I not fix the bug, you cannot continue or proceed further. So priority is also very high. So this comes under high severity and high priority. So this is high severity and this is high priority. So next, um, high severity, low priority. So about us link is going to blank page. So for example, you successfully log into the application. As soon as log into the application, there is some menu options like home page, contact page, about page. So as soon as you entered login page, you will see these options, right? In that, when you click on about us link, it is giving a blank page. You are not able to see content there. So this is a bug. So what could be a severity and priority? About us link page is not working. So it comes under high severity, low priority. So why it becomes high severity? Because as a user, first, when I log into the application, what are the options I can see? Home page, contact, about us, right? And I can perform the action on about us. But it is not going to the actual page. That means the functionality is broken there. So high severity. That's why I consider high severity. And do you want to fix it immediately? Is it required to fix it immediately? Not required. Because the only page is not giving the information of the application. So it is not that much important for now. So developer can also fix it in the next version. So you can give low priority. And now low severity, high priority. So after user is logged into application, he can see home page, but there is a spelling mistake in home page. So this is not impact on the business because only spelling mistakes is there. So severity is very low, but which is high priority? Why? Because as a user log into the application, what is the first thing I can see? User always see home page after login. In the home page, there should not be any spelling mistakes. It should not look very odd. User point of view, this is very high priority, but severity is low. When I click login, it's properly working and navigating to other page and functionality is working fine. But only spelling mistakes is there. So it is not impact on the business. As a user point of view, it will be fixed very soon. So low priority. Now, low severity, low priority. If your application, we have a contact page. When you click on this, it will be displayed on home page. In contact page, you will get all information, name, ad, address, address, everything. But somewhere email is having a small spelling mistake. Like, what is the spelling? What is the spelling? Email, right? So, for example, there is a having a small spelling mistake means like E or M or A is missing. So this comes under low severity, low priority. So low severity, high priority, low severity, low priority. Both are spelling mistakes. If you are notice, both are spelling mistakes. Low severity, high priority, low severity, low priority. So they both related spelling mistakes, but both are spelling mistakes. What is the difference?
Uh,
Both
Hello.
side there will be not impact on the application. There is no functionality is broken, but why it becomes these differences?
Hello.
Anyone? Yeah,
Yeah. So, I see in priority is based on the business impact, right?
yeah.
So, anyways, this should be the which you have added in user open contact page. Okay,
Mm,
email ID, contact page, email ID spelling mistake. If you there is a email ID spelling mistake, if any of the
mm,
business team or any of the client, let's assume we have a client and he is trying to email us and trying to contact us, and if there is any mistake, so indirectly
yeah.
it is impacting the business. So how come this can be a low priority?
So email ID, you are not considered
If
as a low
in
priority.
Yeah, because
So
let's assume if priority's main definition is based on the business impact,
mm,
right?
so priority. See, why I considered email ID has spelling mistake. So when you open the contact page and you are going to some your email to person, but it is working right. So there is a small mistake. Email, just
No,
a word.
no, email
Okay.
ID mistake, spelling mistake means I see what I consider if you email ID, if you have mistaken the email ID or wrongly
Mm.
typed the email ID, okay, and if someone tries to send on that email ID, it anyways not able to send it. How it will be
Uh-huh.
sent? So
No, no.
that's the issue, right?
Ah, you misunderstanding, Kiran. Actually, email ID means in that name, not email ID, email. So if you take a email, if it is missing letters E or M, or for example, uh, I'm
Okay,
seeing
okay. So label name.
EAIL,
So that should be a
email
label
name.
name, right? Ah, okay.
Uh, okay,
Label
not email
mistake.
ID.
Okay,
Yeah.
Like
okay,
So
point
that is
email, email like that here,
okay,
right?
that is what
Not
I'm saying.
inside the link. Okay.
Uh,
okay.
so what I'm saying. So this one and this one both are spelling mistakes, right? Related, but what is the difference? For both side, there will be not impact on the application, and both sides no functionality is broken. But there is a small difference. The reason is user enter into the application, he can able to see home page link. It will appear in front of him. It looks very odd, right? That is the reason, and it will fix immediately soon. So that's why we consider low severity, high priority. So when you come to low severity, low priority, contact page link is working. He will find all the details. Among all the details, somewhere the spelling mistake is there. But most of the users may not notice in that. And somewhere the corner area, those details displayed. So every time user go to the contact page, but user always sees the home page. But contact page is not noticeable. So that's why low severity, low priority. So depends on the user perspective. You have to think. So then you can give proper priority and severity. So these are the few examples of severity and priority combinations. So there are so low priority, low severity, a spelling mistake in a home in a page not frequently navigated by users. So there is a spelling mistake is there, but always users will not see the page every time. So that is a low priority, low severity. And what is the second point? Application crashing in some very corner case. So application crashing is always high severity, but why it becomes low priority? Because it is very corner case. Users may not go in that area. So it is low priority, high severity. And third one, slight change in logo color or spelling mistake in company name. So this will not impact on business. But as a user point of view, there should be in proper. Customer will see logo first, company name, colors. It should look good. So it's high priority, low severity. Issues with login functionality. So user is not able to log into the application. So obviously you consider as high priority, high severity. Web page not found when user clicks on a link. When I click on same link, when you click on some link, web page found error, that means crash. But user doesn't visit the page. Normally, very rare cases user go to that page, right? So high severity, low priority that we considered. So any cosmetic or spelling issues which is within a paragraph or in the page. Cosmetic means spelling mistakes, fonts, colors, size, alignments. So these types of considered as a cosmetic. So that will considered as low severity, low priority. And defect resolution. So mm, I'll finish this topic and tomorrow we'll discuss about bug life cycle. So defect resolution means whenever you reported a defect, the developer will update one column called defect resolution. So developer has some opinion on defect, right? Like whether it is really defect or not, or it is a duplicate defect. That means the tester writes the defect earlier. The developer thinks it is not at all a defect or bug. So whenever report the bug to the developer is having own opinion on that defect. That is basically called defect resolution. So resolution types, what are they? If developer accept the defect, it means he is ready to fix it. And sometimes developer specified as a reject. So reject in that case, the developer not accepted, it is not a defect. So they rejected. And next, sometimes developer thinks it is a duplicate. So duplicate, that means we already raised the defect earlier. Enhancement means, enhancement is what? Sometimes we reported a defect and developer think it is not exact the defect, but that is an enhancement or new feature which will come in the next releases. And sometimes we think bug is a feature and feature is a bug. So that is the reason we have to read the requirement very carefully. Need more information. Sometimes developer may come back and ask need more information about the defect. That case, you need to give more information like screenshots, steps, log files, and so on, and not reproducible. You reported the bug to the developer, but developer trying to reproduce the bug in their environment, but he can't able to do that. So there is a defect in the application. When you test it, you found the defect in testing environment, but the same defect can't found in developer environment. In that case, developer says not reproduce, fix. Whenever developer accepted the bug and fix it, then the defect resolution type is fix as designed. Means whenever the defect report to the developer think that is not a defect, that is actual functionality. It should supposed to work like that. So developer specified as designed like that. So that is not really a bug. That should work like that only. So these types should specified in the debug report. That column always updated by the developer, not by the tester. Is it clear? You got it right?
Yes.
Yeah. Kiran, you okay, right?
Yeah. As
Yeah.
design, I don't see any, as in Jira also, I don't see as design option.
Okay.
But yeah,
But this column is belongs to developer. So maybe
Okay.
they can see that option.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So tomorrow we'll discuss bug life cycle, and that is also very huge topic. And after that, we'll see what is test cycle closure and later test metrics. Mm. So, so you both are get the documents right.
Yeah.
Uh,
In the share path,
we got the documents, but recordings not available. Till class 6, we have the recordings in my website.
So
recordings are
there
there
is a
in
YouTube
the
link
website.
actually.
Yeah, YouTube link only. Yes.
Yeah, YouTube link. You can check there and you can refer the live session videos. You are getting Kiran or not?
On the website, it is loaded, right?
On the website, it is available. eTech
Yes.
website. There is a
Yeah.
channel, eTech channel.
It's there till class 10. We have the class session in
Sorry.
YouTube. In YouTube, we have the recordings actually.
Yeah. In YouTube, there is a recording sessions, live session recordings. I always updated in that channel, so you will get it. Or eTech, uh, they they didn't update you.
We didn't update. Usually, when we log into the website, right? It takes there we have the recordings actually. In our login, they used to
Mm-hmm.
upload there only notes and all.
Mm-hmm.
But
So it's working, right?
yeah, it's working.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll meet in tomorrow's session. So we'll see in what are the next topics. Okay. And we'll
Oh,
finish in 2 or 3 classes, just manual testing. And after that, we'll start TOSCA automation testing. Okay. And you both are having, I mean, you both have a personal laptop, right? Because there are completely practical sessions. So we have to prepare that and we do a practice.
yes, I have.
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, guys. Then see you tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, bye.
Yeah. Bye. Take care. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm.